Lim, welcome to Colorado Springs. I understand this is your first time to come to Colorado Springs, and those of us who live here welcome you, and thank you for coming. I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask about the Korean-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. As you know, this agreement was negotiated in 2007. It was ratified by the legislatures in South Korea and the United States late in 2011, and the implementation stage just began in March of 2012. Can you tell us a little bit, based on your extensive experience with trade issues, what you see as a couple of advantages for the Republic of Korea and for the United States as this agreement enters into the implementation phase?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful country, beautiful state. And it's my privilege to explain about the cross FTA and its related benefits. You described very well about the process during the last 5 years. As you said, we finished our negotiation in 2007. And at that time, we thought we could ratify it right away to reap the benefits, because the EU countries started the negotiation with Korea, also their FTA with us, and it's almost the last phase of our negotiation with EU. So the United States and Korea was a little bit hurried to ratify it, but because of the political situation in the United States and in Korea as well, it was delayed for more than 5 years as well. But fortunately, last year, October, both Congresses passed this legislation, and both governments made every effort to implement this FTA, this historic FTA, as soon as possible. This March 15th, it has implemented, and many companies are trying to use this FTA and utilize this FTA. First of all, I will talk about a little bit about export, and then I will go deep into general economic relationship and also the relationship between the two countries as well. This FTA talks about trade. So basically it talks about the benefits of trade, how United States and Korea could reap the benefits from this FTA. Korea maintains average tariff and around 10,000 tariff line, 10,000 kinds of goods, 12.6%. So, and United States maintains around 3.5%. We would eliminate the 12.6% average within 95% within 5 years. And some goods, very small goods like agricultural goods, will extend to 10 years or 15 years of elimination. First of all, those 95% of tariff elimination, US companies can get the benefits right away. And it will boost their exports. The increase of export, that will increase the employment in the United States. President Obama and the US administration kept explaining to the people that more or less 70,000 jobs will be supported by this FTA. And it's a huge FTA. This is the second largest FTA US has made since NAFTA. That's why it got high attention. And also that may bring about some concerns from some labors or some sectors of the industry. So that's why I guess it took some years to address those concerns raised. And it's, at the same time, it goes for the Korea, the benefits also. I told you there will be 3.5% tariff elimination. And because if you see the difference between 12.6% and 3.5%, it's a huge benefit, 4 times benefit for the US companies. Then what about Korean companies then? Korean companies will see the market access, huge market access opportunities, because United States is the biggest economy in the world. They see, even though it's a small elimination of tariffs, but they will see the more benefit in that big market. U.S. companies, if you see the Korean market, we have 50 million population. Because we are next to China, so you may say it's tiny comparing to with China, but 50,000 with GDP per capita is more than $20,000. It's not a small market, first of all. And also it's a developed market. Our population, our people are more consuming high-end goods, which United States maintain its technology and competitiveness. So we call it's a win-win trade deal. But I would like to say, if we only talk about export side, we don't see the whole picture of economic activities, relationship between the two countries. These FTA will lead to another level of economic relationship, because we say this FTA has catalyst effect. If they find that because of the tariff elimination, if they find new market in Korean economy, those U.S. companies will draw new attention to Korean market, and they will export more with that incentives. I will give you one example of a company. There is a company in Portland, Oregon. He is exporting special knives to Korea. And I explained to him the benefit from this FTA. He will get 8% of tariff elimination, and then he will love it. He loves that tariff elimination, but he will not lower the price in Korean market. He will give that margin to the distributor or seller in Korea, and then to use this margin to increase their market share. So that's how it works, to draw their new attention, to enhance their visibility in Korean market. If they sell more and more, we see the economic benefits will come to Korea, because when we look through the company's activities between the two countries, when they sell a lot to Korea, then they will invest in Korea. So we can get investment because they want to be in near the market. And at the same time, I tell Korean companies too, to show the benefits of this FTA, then they will export a lot to the United States. Then it will followed by their investment into the United States. Already it's happening. We are exporting a lot to the United States. It's a huge market. And they want to be with the market. So as United States invests in Korea, last year it's $2.5 billion. Rather, Korean companies invested into the United States last year to $6.5 billion. It's 8 times more. Why? Because they find the market in the United States, and they will create employment in the United States. Korea is not anymore selling cheap products. Nobody, the business knows that Korea is not the country to getting employment out from the United States. We are investing. And in the field of businesses, those business people know how it works between those two countries, export relationship, and leads to the investment relationship. For the investment, it's very important to see the development in changes of business environment in Korea. Thanks to this FTA, we decided in 2007, we decided to open our economy to the goods from the United States, as well as we decided to open our service market, because United States service sector is the most strong strongest in the world. So we decided to open our market to US service firms in order to grow our service industry and to be strong in competition with United States service firms. And also, we decided to change our regulations regarding to the IPR protection and competition issues, regarding pharmaceutical issues. We changed our system little by little, according to the FTA. We believe that that will lead to American companies to come to Korea more and more and do business in Korea. That will deepen our relationship between the two countries. That is the foremost objective why we started this FTA deal. In 2006, when we started the negotiation, the logic behind was that until 2003, United States was the top trading partner for Korea. But from 2003, United States became second, next to China. And then third, the next year, third, next to European Union. And then now it's fourth, next to Japan. United States is our foremost, strongest ally. We really appreciate the help and support from the United States. Especially all Korean people remember what United States did for us from the Korean War in 1950. Even from Colorado, 305 people sacrificed during the Korean War for the country which they didn't know where it was and what it looked like. But they shared their blood for us. And after the war, United States helped us to grow our economy and taught us how to make products and how to export those products to the world. But we saw that the economic presence of the United States is going down to the fourth level. So both governments decided we should do something to increase our relationship, to enhance our relationship. So we launched negotiation, and finally we have the FTA in our hands. Now our job of both countries and both governments is try to let both the businesses know there are benefits, there are markets. If you do business more, if you export more and import more, and then invest more, it will enhance and it will strengthen the relationship of both countries. That's the job of me, to be here today to explain to the people of Colorado Springs and to the people of Colorado State what is our objectives in the future, what is the future of both our two countries.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. That's a great overview of the economic effects of the free trade agreement on the United States and Korea. I wondered, in the few minutes that we have left, if you could give us kind of a micro level effects on the state of Colorado itself and
yes.
the Colorado economy. How does a state like Colorado benefit from
yes.
the Korea-U.S. free trade agreement?
Yes, I'd love to. Since 2010, Korean embassy in Washington, D.C. to the United States decided to tour around the country to explain what are the benefits from this FTA and to seek support from the U.S. people to support the passage of this FTA in the Congress as soon as possible. So my former Ambassador Han and our economic team toured around the country. We visited 67 cities in 37 states during the last 2 years. So I could be in a position to compare the states. The United States is really a set of 50 states. All states have different environment and business activities. And last year when we visited, last April, we visited Denver and we explained about the benefit. At the time, we focused on some agricultural goods and very limited area. But this time, I found more evidences and more real facts regarding the Colorado state. In governmental offices tend to work on only statistics on the desk. But yesterday, I met several businessmen and the business organizations in Colorado State. And I confirmed my statistics, and I found some anecdotes of those benefits from this FTA. First of all, Colorado's export to Korea, Colorado's general export to Korea, it's more or less $220 million a year. More than 40%, the beef exports take the portion of more than 40%. For the beef exports, the beef people, those cattlemen are the strongest supporters of this FTA because they see the size of Korean market and how lucrative it is. The tariff, we maintain 40%. It's very high. We will eliminate it in 15 years. It sounds like a little bit long, but we have our cattlemen as well. So we need to make some breathing room for them to adjust the change. But those 40%, because the importing market could be separated from domestic beef market. Importing market takes more or less more than 70% of Korean beef, whole beef market. And among those 70%, now United States beef is taking more or less 37%, and 50% from Australia. What will happen? What is happening from the March 15th, or the implementation date? Now U.S. beef is facing 37.3% versus 40% from Australia. Every year there will be a widening gap between Australia and American beef. We just started to import beef from Canada from March. They will face 40% as well. And American beef will gain the competitiveness against Canadian beef as well. As we are negotiating FTAs with Australia and Canada, but it is not finishing soon. So as that delays, American beef will gain more and more. That's why the American cattlers hurried the ratification of this FTA. Also, Colorado has a great potential to export cheese, especially mozzarella cheese and whey. Whey is a protein, it's a byproduct to make cheese. It's a higher tariff rate. The whey and cheese may have up to 45%. We will eliminate it in 10 years or 15 years, but we give very special treatment for those cheese exports. We call it a tariff quota. So they can export a certain amount, like 7,000 tons a year. They can export to Korea duty-free, no tariff. So those cheese exporters see great potential. They say, I met Leprino company. It's the world's biggest mozzarella producer and exporter in the world, located in Denver. They say Korean mozzarella cheese market is the biggest in Asia. They would like to see the real growth case in Korea, because we consume a lot of cheese. We love pizza. So they will have great benefit from the FTA. And I see the half of Colorado's export business with Korea is about food exports. But that's not limited to food and agriculture goods. Colorado has real diversified industry having business with Korea. The Colorado is making and exporting a lot of machineries, optical goods, chemical goods, acrylic goods, some advanced or some amusement items to Korea. And also, I just found out that one architecture company in Denver, called Funtris, they designed and built our biggest and main international airport in Incheon. That Incheon airport has received 7 years in a row the best airport in Asia. So we are very proud of that airport, and I just found out that it's built by a Colorado company. And I especially focus on to explain the benefits of Korea's FTA to the small and medium-sized companies. Big companies, they have enough manpower to find out the benefits and how to utilize it, but the FTA is difficult to understand for the small and medium-sized companies. So we decided to explain what are the benefits for your company in specifically Colorado State. We set up a new website called www.uskoreaconnect.org. It means we try to connect both businesses together to reap the benefits of this FTA. If you visit the site, there is a specific section of Colorado. If you just open the site, and that will guide you the Colorado site because it will recognize your location. And then just click it and you will find all the benefits. Yesterday I met several interesting firms. One of it very small, like 50 employees now they have, but they would like to increase. They are making and exporting a laser maze kind of labyrinth, the small equipment for amusement park. They can get 8% of tariff elimination right away. Already the tariff was gone for that company. That company maintains the high-end technology in that field. So they believe they have all the patent. They would like to expand there. They're already selling to Korean companies, partners. So they will get 8% of margins more. He said same thing. The CEO told me the same thing as Oregonian knife exporter. He will not decrease or lower the price. Rather than he will give that margin to the distributor to expand his market. I see the better future. I asked him, if you have more exports to Korea, are you going to invest in Korea as well? He said, and he asked me another question. What about then intellectual property protection in Korea? He would like to enter Chinese market in the end. Because Korean market, we have only 50 million people, but we have billions in China, and they are growing. Then I replied to him with firm explanation. With this FTA, we changed whole IPR protection system because it delayed ratification 2007. From 2007, we changed our regulation. In the World Intellectual Property Organization, we call it WIPO, and any intellectual property negotiation and discussion, United States and Korea are always together because we are in the same level of protection. We are on the same page. There was an ACTA negotiation, we are on the same page. So I confirmed him that in IPR protection, don't worry about that. And there will be another opportunity they need to come to Korea because Korea is trying to start our negotiation with China. And then sooner or later, Chinese market will open for Korea. And if we have very strong developed relationship between United States and Korea, we can go together to Chinese market. We can guide American business people how to navigate Chinese market. That's the vision of this FTA. We can go together to Chinese market. Also, there is a company, architecture company, and there is an aquarium building company only for specified very high-end aquarium with thick acrylic products. They are finding big market in Korea, but it will be saturated like United States. There are many aquariums in the United States already, and there will be soon in Korea too. He will have 8% tariff reduction benefits already, but more than that, he would like to find business partner of Korea to enter Middle Eastern and Chinese market because Korean companies are going to Middle East a lot nowadays. So he wants to find a construction or developer from Korea to develop one site in Middle East equipped by his product. That is the future of our relationship. We will go into another market for future benefits.
Mr. Lim, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, particularly on the economic relationship between the United States and South Korea and also the benefits for the state of Colorado. It's been extremely useful in explaining a very difficult topic. So again, thanks for your first visit to Colorado, and please come back again when you can stay longer. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Well, I would like to thank you for tuning in to today's interviews, and I hope that for more information on the Colorado Springs World Affairs Council and also programs that we will have in future months, that you will visit our website at csworldaffairs.org. So that, again, that's csworldaffairs.org. Thank you very much.